I'm glad to welcome our next guest, Ms. Shailaja, who is a versatile being. She's an author, certified integral yoga and Manasa yoga teacher, TV host and speaker. She grew up in Coimbatore, India, but she is based in Malaysia. She has over 20 years of teaching experience and is the founder of Menon Beyond Yoga Studio. She hosted Yoga Shakti, a TV series on Anand TV based in UK. She conducts online asana and pranayama and dhyana classes in UK and USA. Over the years, she has been invited to speak at several educational institutions and organizations in Malaysia, India and USA. She has been featured in leading newspapers in India. Ms. Shailaja hosts podcasts on Facebook with eminent personalities in yoga and Vedanta. She is a passionate advocate of mental wellness through the tools of yoga including asana, pranayama, dhyana, mantra and yoga sutra philosophy. And she seeks to share that knowledge through every platform available to her. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Ms. Shailaja.
Namaste, everyone, and thank you all for being here with me today. First of all, I would like to thank the United Consciousness team for putting together this wonderful event with such great organization. And every time I do something for them, I'm in absolute awe of the, attention to detail, and they're just so absolutely well organized. Now, today I'm going to be guiding you through a 5 elemental meditation practice. Yeah, so before we step into the practice, I'm just laying some groundwork so that we have a good context to the practice. Yeah, sometimes it's not just doing it, but understanding the context in which it is done. Yeah, so when we talk about the 5 elements, which is earth, water, fire, air, and space, we are also connecting to the elements of the universe, right? And then understanding that what we call the universe is really us. Yeah, so the general concept about the universe being the macrocosm and the individual being the microcosm. Yeah, so that is the theme that I would like to put forward today, about the microcosm and the macrocosm, and about how the individual is nothing but the universe. Yeah, and for this I'm going to quote one of the great siddhas, and in Tamil. So there is a very beautiful saying from all their wisdom. They say this line about how andathil ullade pindam, pindathil ullade andam. That means whatever is in the universe is in the individual, and whatever is in the individual is in the universe. Yeah, both exist in each other. So that is the groundwork, right? And based on this, we are going to go into the 5 elemental, because then it all comes together. Otherwise, our limited minds, yeah, the jiva mind as we call it, is so separated. It only sees separation, it only sees division, it only thinks about I, right? It has no sense of connection. So one of the greatest aspects of yoga practice is building that connectivity, right? Whether it is first with our own body, breath, mind, and energy, then it is with the world around us and expanding the world around us, and eventually understanding our greater connection with the universe at large. Right? So, this is the basis of the meditation. And I would also like to bring about another very important point, right? The whole of meditation practice is about getting the mind to be more settled and stable. Yeah, so before we can understand that or appreciate that, we have to know what our minds are like. So again, now I'm borrowing back from the sages. So Sage Vyasa, he says that there are 5 grounds of consciousness, yeah, which is very popularly known as the Chitta Bhumis. And the first ground, where I think most of us are most of the time, right, is what is popularly known as the monkey mind, yeah, which is the Shipta mind, right? So that is that mind which is constantly moving from person to person, from place to place, from thing to thing, overthinking, imagining, creating situations that never existed in the first place. So we all have that, right? So we delve deeply into our own minds, we can see that. And that is the Shipta mind. Then there is the Buddha mind, right? So I was reading an article where they correlated all of this to animals. So I have the greatest love for donkeys, but they call this Buddha mind the donkey mind, yeah, where it's generally very slow, very lethargic, right? I think it's how you feel. Like even if I always think we just take one day, 24 hours, you can see all these different states of mind. Yeah, so it's not something, some deep philosophy that we can't understand it. All of that is there in our own selves and our own minds, and we look within, we can see it, right? So if you have this really big heavy meal, how do we feel? We feel muda. Yeah, so we are very slow, we're very dull, we're uninspired, right? We can't rouse ourselves to do anything, and that is the muda mind. And then there is the vikshipta mind, which can alternate. Yeah, so sometimes we're focused, right? We go into a yoga practice, your teacher is very good, right? He's all the time directing you towards your breath, towards your body, right? We become so focused and settled in that class. But the minute we come out, we get one cell phone call, or we get one text, and from the office, or talking about some deadline, and all of it is gone, right? So that is that vikshipta mind, which is the oscillating mind. And I think the animal, or the what insect associated with it was the butterfly, yeah, which is like a stable for some time, then flitting away. And then there is ekagrata. So this is the one that I'm most interested in, because this is the direction of the yoga practice, and the practice that we're going to do now as well. Yeah, which is really a concentration practice leading hopefully to a state of meditation. Because I've said earlier as well that all the great gurus say we cannot do meditation. Yeah, meditation is a state that rises naturally from within us through our practices. So what we do is cultivate that beautiful state of mind for these meditative and these states of higher consciousness to blossom. So this ekagrata is that one pointed mind, where the mind is really stable, the mind is very settled, and mind is very grounded. And eventually the last state is the niruddha state, and that comes to me, that is really about going into eventually where all the gunas that are constantly again wreaking havoc in our minds, when that gets settled. So we will just focus on ekagrata. Yeah, so that is the whole direction of our practice now also, to move into ekagrata, to that one pointed, stable, grounded, centered state. Yeah, so we're going to begin. Just sitting tall, posture is important. The way we sit is important, because the basic understanding when you step into a yoga practice that comes to you is that mind, body, breath, energy, all of it is connected. Yeah, so if you're going to sit rounded, spine completely rounded, right, shoulders stooping in, chest caving in, right, then that's the energy that we're emitting, and we can't breathe properly even, and our energy again is indicating that it's a very low, dull, uninspired buddha kind of energy state, right? So we have to the beauty about the body is we can create these states, yeah, that we want to achieve. So lift your spine, draw your shoulders back, chest open, right, be comfortable. Yeah, close your eyes, because closing your eyes is always a great way to connect inwards. Yeah, when the eyes are open, we're trying to minimize distraction here. Yeah, so when the eyes are closed, you get easily focused, right? And before we step into the practice, I just like to begin with three ohms. Yeah, so the pranava is one of the most beautiful practices, and to me it's like a instant switch that you can switch on to connect to the vibration of the universe. Yeah, so we are all caught up in these everyday deadlines and stresses and frustrations and time pressure and financial pressure, right? But then when you can just take a few minutes off, you can just sit by yourself and you can just connect to the pranava through the chanting of the om, right? That instantly connects us to a much larger aspect of ourselves. Yeah, so we just begin with the pranava, and then I go into the five elemental meditation. So just inhale deeply, and then when you exhale, exhale with the om. Okay, just become aware of your mind. Just sense where is your mind. So that is always the best place to start, by taking a step back from the mind and simply observing it. Okay, by being in that place of the witness, the observer. So just seeing where is your mind, where is your attention. Is it caught up with work? Is it caught up with the relationship issue? Is it caught up with some financial pressure? Is it focusing on some decision it has to take? Yeah, so just sensing where is the mind. Okay, and as jivas, right, the mind is constantly oscillating between the kleshas of raga and dvesha, attraction and aversion, right? Whatever we are attracted to, or whoever we are attracted to, even, which just makes it easier to understand, right? We can't stop thinking about them, or we can't stop thinking about it. And similarly, whatever upsets us, whatever irritates us, that also has such a grip on our minds. Yeah, so seeing all of it. But when we step into that place of the observer, then we have the chance to put some space, some distance. Okay, now using that same beautiful, powerful power of visualization, yeah, and then just visualize earth, whatever comes to your mind. Yeah, when you hear the word earth, what does it conjure up for you? Right? For me, maybe it is that sense of stability, that sense of groundedness, centeredness, that sense of being held, that sense of being supported. Yeah, these are some of the words that come up, right? We do not hesitate, right? When I sit down, I open my mat and I sit on the floor. I don't hesitate and think, oh, is the earth going to give way? Right? When similarly, when we step out of the door to walk outside, right, we have so much of faith on earth, right? And sometimes in our lives, we seek that from other human beings or from maybe jobs, and that always will disappoint. So it is so good to develop that connection with earth, to sense those beautiful qualities of being held, of being supported, of feeling secure, knowing that those are always available to us each time we connect back to earth. Okay, and then we all know about how in our bodies we have the chakras, and the Muladhara chakra, the root chakra, right? That is associated with the element of earth. So, this earth that we think is outside of us is also present inside of us. Yeah, only thing, it is present in a different manner, right? The bones, what gives structure to our bodies, what holds our bodies up, right? Connecting to bones, to muscle, to tissues, right? So just for a few seconds, bringing your awareness to your feet, right? Just sensing your feet, sensing the bones that make up your feet, feeling the earthiness, feeling the strength, the support of the bones holding the whole body up. Become aware of the bones of the lower leg leading up to the knees, the kneecap, the thigh bone. Just sensing all of this. Become aware of the girdle of the hips, the spine, the rib cage, the bones holding us up, giving our body structure, support. Become aware of the shoulders leading to the upper arms, the bones of the upper arm, the lower arms, the wrist, the many bones that make up the wrist, the fingers. sensing the stability that it provides our body, sensing the face, the skull that supports and protects our brain. Become aware of that jawline, the teeth. All of this is what makes up Earth. And similarly, like the universe, we have Earth present in us too, sensing that same connection with Mother Earth. Now just visualize whatever Earth is to you, maybe the ground, maybe a mountain, and just connecting to those qualities: grounded, stable, secure, centered, sensing Earth in you, as you. Okay, and then slowly moving on to the water element. Again, visualize water. So that's quite easy to visualize: roaring oceans, streams, water from the tap. In so many ways, we connect to water, right? But it's always a sense of water outside of us. Okay, but understanding that that same water, in a different way, flows through all of us too. Our bodies too have water flowing in the form of urine, sweat, blood. Okay, blood flows through the entire body, nourishing the entire body, carrying nutrients, oxygen to all the different parts and organs. Like how the rivers flow through the lands, nourishing and supplying water and all the other essential nutrients for people to build settlements and houses, to grow crops. There is that similar system in our bodies as well, connecting to that. And then connecting to the qualities of water. So when you think about water, what qualities come to your mind? Right? It is that capacity to flow. Yeah, water has that ability to flow as an ocean, and it also has that ability to flow like a stream or even through a crack in a rock. So, similarly, knowing that we too have that capacity, right? Sometimes we feel stuck, we feel frozen, right? We are unable to find a path. But as we connect to the element of water within us, which in the chakras is the Swadhisthana chakra, we have that capacity to flow like water, to be able to go through situations that bother us, that come up like a wall, right? Like how water is able to find that crack in the rock, right? We have the capacity to flow past situations. So just sensing water. Okay, and then connecting to the element of fire, right? So when you visualize fire, what comes to your mind? Burning fires, just burning up forests, even fires that light up our homes as the lamp to help us cook food. So many different ways, right? Similarly, in our bodies too, we have to have that capacity to digest different experiences that we go through, to digest food. And for all of that, we have that Jatara Agni in that space of that Manipura chakra in the navel. So just sensing that fire element, which we can experience on an everyday basis through the food that gets digested. And that fire has to burn well, otherwise, things just get stuck within us, experiences get stuck within us. But always remembering, connecting back, that we have the capacity to digest whatever comes our way. We have that capacity to burn, and we have that capacity to cleanse through that whole process, to release it, to let it go, and to be renewed. Now, slowly become aware of the element of air, right, which is associated with the heart space, the Anahata chakra. And this air is there all around us, right? Even as we sit, we can probably feel air coming maybe from the fan. If you're sitting outdoors, you can feel air surrounding you with the breeze, right? Sensing air, the lightness of air, the fluidity of air, the capacity to be light, to rise above, to open the heart, to be unconditional, to accommodate. Sensing all those capacities within us. Okay, knowing that air flows within us as well. There is air in every cell in our bodies. So just connecting to that element of air. And finally, connecting to space. So when we think of space, to help us connect to space, we can always think about the sky. Yeah, and we think of the sky, what comes to mind? It is that how indivisible the sky is. Yeah, it is just there, right? And we, with our jiva limitations and mind, right, we're always trying to create divisions, right? And in so many ways, we try to bound the unbounded space, right? We have these homes that we build with cement, and we say that's my space. Similarly, countries demarcate their, areas, and that's their space, right? That space is a country. But if you actually just look up, if we can elevate ourselves from that limitations of the jiva towards Ishvara, that movement, if we can make that, then we can connect to that unbounded space. Okay, knowing that we too are like that. Yeah, it is only the limitations of the mind that confine us to this body, that confine us to particular skills, that confine us to particular age. Like we say, okay, we have only a certain limitation in age as well. But that essence of us, that Sara, yeah, is beyond all of this. So sensing that limitlessness in our minds as well, that unbounded space. And just staying here for a few seconds, just receiving whatever that is that comes to you. Feeling open, feeling spacious, feeling unbounded, feeling limitless, connecting to that Ishvara who is not outside of us but permeates in every cell and in every fiber of our being. Okay, and then just become aware of your breath, just coming back. Become aware of your body. Sense your body, the shape, the form, all of it that gives us this identity. Okay, and then slowly open your eyes. And namaste. I hope you had a few seconds at least of being released from the confines of the body and the mind.
Thank you very much, Shailaja ji, for such an intense meditation and taking us back to our roots. One thing that we get so connected with your meditation is the foundation that you lay before you actually take us in meditation. And you rightly said, Yatha Pinde Tatha Brahmande, and Yatha Brahmande Tatha Pinde. So, beautiful way to connect self with ourself, to the roots, to the basics. Thank you very much, Shaljaji, for being us and always inspiring and guiding us into self, journey into self.
Thank you so much, Vikrant.
Thank you.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Ms. Shailaja for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much.